Hello, and welcome to my channel. Whether you're here because I don't know why you're here, but I'm a blind film critic, and this is Foe. Foe. Uh, it is now available by the benevolent gods at Amazon on Prime Video. And I talk a lot about audio description in my reviews, and we're going to get into that. But first, I will talk a little bit about the film, and we will try to get it a little bit of structure. Um, this film is directed by Garth Davis, who a couple of years ago, actually feels like a couple of years ago, it was really like 10. That wasn't 10 years ago, maybe like 8. He directed Lion, which was really well received and got some Oscar nominations. Definitely got Dev Patel his overdue Oscar nomination. Um, and it stars Saoirse Ronan and Paul Mescal, both Oscar nominees. And it is set in the future, set in the year 2065, I think. And basically, artificial intelligence is kind of replacing humans. We have essentially replicants, for being honest. Apparently, like androids that are just as good as humans that are taking over, and the humans are being sort of pushed out of work, pushed out of jobs, and there's a scarcity of water thing, and now we're sending humans into space to find new life. And so the film starts off with this guy who kind of shows up and knocks on the doors of our leads, and he tells them about this opportunity to go into space. One of them won a lottery and has an opportunity to go, explore, colonize, or whatever. And the he'll be replaced with an identical android replacement that'll look and act and do everything just like them, and just be left behind so that way the other person isn't alone and they can still get the work done. And it's a sci-fi thing, and it does kind of twist and turn a little bit and play with some things. It's perhaps a film worth discussing. I thought it was a little long, even all things considered with what I'm about to say. I did think this film just ran a little long. And it wasn't very clear. When you have a film that's really limited on cast, it becomes really hard you gotta kind of nail that pacing. It just has to have pacing the whole time. Filling in the film with sex is just not really a thing. I'm not a prude. The reason why I'm saying this is in order to do some research, and this is also kind of just a criticism of IMDb. There's a way, I was trying to find out the box office gross for the film because I know it was released theatrically, and it's listed as having been released theatrically in the United States, United Kingdom, and Australia. It was filmed in Australia. I learned a lot about this film for this review. There's a reason. We're getting there. Made about 233,000 worldwide, which is really low for a film with this cast, but it's not for everybody. It's just a really slow burn sci-fi film, and these are the kind of films that they either pop or they don't. Every once in a while you get an Ex Machina that's just really well made and it just pops, and then you have films like this that just fall apart. What was the film? There was a film last year, I think Vesper is another example of a sci-fi film that just, it happened. So what I noticed down there at the bottom, that you can see these like plot keywords. There was female nudity was a plot keyword. That's not a plot. I'm sorry. It's not a plot. That's creepy, is what that is. That's people just looking up films in which women have been naked. That's porn. We've described porn. This film isn't about female nudity. If it was, that would be fine. If we were doing, I don't know, if we were talking about showgirls, female nudity, sure. I could understand that. Um, if we were talking about maybe even Lovelace, uh, okay. I don't actually even remember if there was female nudity in that, but I'm gonna assume it was because of what it was about. Um, However, that's not what this film is about. So to include it as a plot keyword is really disconcerting and also says a lot about the film. It means that for that to be one of your top plot keywords means A, we got some creepy people, first of all, just who are not using IMDb for the right reasons. B, why is IMDb even generating that as a keyword? C, your film doesn't have enough so that there are enough things interesting to say about the film other than female nudity. Anyway, all of that aside, this audio description track is awful. It is, ironically, artificially generated. It is AI robo description for a film that is clearly not pro artificial intelligence. That's talking about sort of how artificial intelligence is replacing humans, and maybe that's not such a great thing. Um, we've actually done it with the audio description because Amazon is not paying attention to anything they do ever. And the worst part about it is this isn't even like a catalog title that they happen to have that they're, trying to be like, well, at least we're putting on, like I saw Weekend at Bernie's and it had like robo description on it. I was like, I don't even know why this film has audio, but okay. Weekend at Bernie's. Um, it's, I don't know that anybody cares, but it has audio description. Thanks. Everything should have audio description, but this is weird that we prioritize this. Um, this was a new title. It has a release date of November 7th, 2023, and it was released theatrically. Are you telling me that this was your theatrical audio description track? Because I don't think people paid for this in theaters. I don't think people sat through theaters with this audio track. I just don't. I think they walked out or they set their movie theater on fire or something. I mean, something happened, but this audio track is atrocious. At some points, it was like it was mumbling. Now, you could say, well, it's how you watch TV and how you see things, and it's your sound system. Listen, dude, I watch everything on the same TV, and you can watch my channel of me ranting and raving about like 1,000 films, right? You can go to my blog and see me talk about how great all my TV shows are that have audio description. I have given so many positive reviews to things that have solid. So when I say it sounds like ass, it just sounds like ass. It sounds like the human equivalent of, basically Amazon is feeding me dog food at this point. That's what they're trying to do. It's not real food. It's not really meant for human consumption. And they don't value blind and visually impaired enough people enough to quality check anything. So they're just going to kind of give us shit, is what this is. There's no way this was quality checked. I refuse to believe it. If I physically met someone, if somebody came to my house from Amazon and was like, hi, my name's Kyle. I'm blind. I work for Amazon and I quality checked this. I would be like, you're lying. They paid you to come here. No one, there isn't a single blind person who would have passed this along to other blind people. It sounds atrocious. The balancing is terrible. Sometimes it's actually, I've complained about balancing in some ways before, and usually it sticks one way or the other. This one can't decide. It can't decide if it wants to be louder than the film or if it wants to be quieter than the film. There's a scene sort of that takes place. It's a great example of when the audio description is causes the leveling of the film to drop, so that every time you hear the audio description talk, you end up hearing like the film volume drops like out completely. And it's during the barn burning. I'll just say the barn burning. I don't want to give spoilers. There's a barn burning sequence. If you watch the film, you'll notice in that sequence that the audio description actually triumphs over the the film. So we lose the sound of the film, and it's really noticeable because you get these like sort of like wild like Doppler effect sounds where like the film is really loud and then it drops back off because the audio description is talking, and then it goes back up and we're doing film stuff and the fire is burning and then we drop back off because the audio description is, and it's it's very jarring, and it also kind of creates like jumbled effects within the quality of the actual track of the sound, which is why it's, I said, even though this is clearly an AI voice, it actually sounds like it's mumbling sometimes. Like sometimes I was like, what did it just say? I don't even know. Like I shouldn't have to turn up my volume either to like deaf, you know what I'm saying? Like make me deaf, you know, like have the volume so loud where I'm like I'm trying to find out the balancing on it. Sometimes it was so quiet and like, and it was so poorly balanced, I couldn't understand what it was saying. And that's such a rarity for me, where I honestly just can't even understand the audio description. Um, and then there were other scenes where the audio description was almost inaudible. There's a scene towards the end where they're standing out in the rain where it didn't balance it the other way. And so the audio description is being beaten by the sound of rain. You know, it's just, there isn't like a lot of dialogue. It's just rain. It's just they're in a rainstorm. And it's, you know, um, it just is. It's just crap. And it's hard to even sit down and look at what the text is and to say, is that, were those the word choices I would have made? Because half the time I couldn't understand them. Half the time I was trying to laser focus in on either the film or the audio description to either hear one or the other because they were fighting for attention. Um, and it wasn't balanced and I couldn't just navigate it like I do naturally in other film. You know, I was trapped with audio description that, I'm an advocate for audio description. I sit here and I talk. The reason I'm doing this and I talk so much effortlessly every day is I don't make any money from this. Look at my channel. I don't have enough subscribers. I have no sponsors. I want to advance audio description. I want to get people talking about it and I want to make it good. I want it to be on everything. We should have access to everything. It's weird that we don't. But unfortunately, the accessibility that we need as blind and visually impaired people is controlled by people who do not need it, who do not use it, who do not understand it, and therefore do not prioritize it. It is simply apathy. Amazon is a company whose founder made so much money at Amazon that he's literally funding his own space program. But if I were to ask Amazon why they don't have audio description on all of their content, like their entire streaming catalog across Prime and MGM Plus and Freevee, it would come down to money. They would seriously use that as the excuse. Amazon, a billion-dollar corporation, doesn't have the money to provide quality audio description accessibility for its blind and visually impaired customers. But they want us to pay the exact same rate as sighted people who get the same, as they get the full experience. They get to just sit down, they can click on a title, and they can just watch it. Maybe they can even watch it in 4K. You know what? Another reason I do this and why I do it so forcefully and kind of bitchily is I used to also be sighted. So I know what it's like. I actually remember sitting down and being able to have conversations about the cinematography and the camera angles and the color grading and the crisp and the clearness of the picture and did you see it in IMAX? Did you get to see it in IMAX? You saw it on DVD and not, you don't have the Blu-ray yet? You didn't get the 4K HD, you know? I mean, like, there's so many options for sighted people to get like the best fucking video quality that they possibly can. Oh, did you watch it on the VR headset? We just want accessibility with like functional human being audio description that doesn't sound like robots talking to us. It's really all we're trying for is accessibility on every film so that we can click on the same title as you. And also, we would like for it to be human, because we shouldn't have to listen to robots on literally everything all the time, which is most of our lives. Our screen readers are robotic. If we have devices that talk to us, they're robotic. Everything is a robot. Every device we use throughout the day that speaks to us in some manner is going to be AI. So the one time we have to sit down and listen and do something normal is either we can listen to some music, we could do that. We could listen to an audiobook. We could even read a book too. For those who read Braille, they can sit down with a Braille book. But even then, that gets kind of sketchy, because it's like, does everything have a Braille copy? Is there an audiobook for everything? Then we still get into sort of an access issue, which is what we have with movies and TV and the lack of audio description. So I just want to be able to sit down and watch things. And I want to be able to sit down and watch things. I don't know if you guys know this, but we also don't live on blind communes. We're not all together. We didn't just, the government didn't just give us Nebraska and just move all the blind people to Nebraska. We don't all live here, like in Nebraska. I live in Florida. You know what I'm saying? We don't live all in the same place. So we have sighted people. We have sighted family. We have sighted friends. And they know that we need this accessibility, and it's really awkward whenever they pick a title that doesn't have it. And they're like, "Oh, do you not want to watch this? Can we not?" Oh, and then they can hear the quality. I don't know if Amazon knows this, but not only are you pissing me off, but you piss off the people that I watch with, because they can hear the sound quality, the degraded sound quality that you create by having a shitty audio description track. So you think that you're only marginalizing blind people, but you're marginalizing blind people and the people around us. That's the most obnoxious thing, is that you're so out of touch with what it is that you do as a company, as a functioning company, that for your own title, this is an MGM title. MGM is owned by Amazon. You couldn't care enough to put quality human audio description on a film that was released theatrically 2 months ago on your own streaming service for your own customers. This isn't about licensing out audio description for an MGM film or for an Amazon Studios film. This isn't about creating a physical media release or VOD of an MGM title that I picked up off of the Google Store or Apple Plus. I watched this on Prime. I watched an MGM title which is owned by Amazon on Prime. And you couldn't even bother to create decent audio description for your own movie. The audacity, the disgusting, atrocious audacity that you have to use this and call this equal, to call this equity, and to say that you are being inclusive. I am disgusted by Amazon. Go fuck yourself. As far as Foe goes, I'm in a weird place. Normally, when I review a film that doesn't have audio description, I usually just call it unwatchable, because I understand that sometimes it's an issue of the audio description not traveling. It's an audio description that's, the artist doesn't have control over the audio description, and I don't want to negatively necessarily say that the quality of the work is, but basically there are reasons why the film is unwatchable. Either I just watched a horror movie where people are dying left and right. I have no idea who just died or got stabbed. It's a quiet, independent film where we just have long moments of silence. Whatever it is, science fiction film where I can't get any sci-fi audio description, anything like that. And I usually just go with unwatchable, because that is basically what it is. I'm not getting the same, there's no bridges being built for me to be able to fully access the entirety of the film. But also, I don't want to grade the film based on that. You know, for example, a lot of people really like Skinamarink. If I had to grade Skinamarink based on my experience watching that without audio description, there isn't a letter in the alphabet. Z? Z minus? I don't know. Um, it's basically an experimental film with about 13 words of dialogue throughout the entire film. So I don't know what to say about that. But so I just go with unwatchable because but here I've been offered audio description that was so bad. I kind of wish I'd watched it without the audio description so that I could at least have some sort of a clear idea of the film. But it was fighting so badly with the audio track, and I'm trying to understand what this quiet, mumbling audio description AI was trying to do and say, that it ruined the whole experience for me. And unfortunately, this film does have accessibility. So if I were to give it a pass, like I do the films that don't have accessibility and call it unwatchable, which is still not really a great word to hear, that your film is unwatchable. I don't know that that makes anybody happy. I mean, if I told Christopher Nolan his film is unwatchable, he'd be like, what the fuck did you just say to me? I mean, and then I'd have to be like, well, okay, so your film doesn't have audio description. We'd have to go into conversation, and he probably would understand after that. And I'd be like, oh, okay, I get it. Here, this is the audio description that the studio has decided to provide for the film. This is the official audio description. So I have to include it as part of the experience, which means Foe gets an F. Sorry, sports fans. Please subscribe. I want to continue to talk about audio description for the largest audience possible. This is atrocious, and that's why. A channel with a little over 200 subscribers is not going to make waves. A channel with 2 million subscribers might actually get human audio description on this film, and might actually make Amazon and MGM Studios think about the next time they have a film like this, about ever trying to put AI audio description on a title like this. So please subscribe. I do have a website, macthemovieguy.com. You can follow me on X, Threads, or Instagram at macthemovieguy. You can go to the audio description project, adp.acb.org, where it will let you know what does have audio description and where you can watch it. It doesn't tell you whether or not the audio description is AI or not, but we're at that point where we actually have sort of like a green book thing that just kind of is trying to track where films are audio described. It's that bad. That's where our life is at. We have to go to a website to check to find where the film has audio description, because it may not even have audio description everywhere. And we have the ADNA, the ADNA.org, because our narrators are not allowed to be on IMDb as credited, so they have their own website where they can list their credits and their resume, so we know who's speaking to us. This is a great life. Join me. I'll see you guys on the other side.